day everyone, I am Mary Rose Paras. You can call me Mary, your tour guide for today. On behalf of Hiraya Tours, I thank you for choosing us to be your company in this wonderful experience. How's your night stay in Bailey Hotel? I hope you had a great and comfortable stay. Before we start, I have a few reminders for all of you. First, please don't leave your belongings unattended to avoid losing your valuable things. Second, make sure that you are following your tour guide because you are not familiar in this place, you might get lost. And if you want to go to the restroom, please tell me so I am aware where you are going. And lastly, enjoy this tour. Take videos and pictures if you want to and keep it as a remembrance. So let's start. We're here at Intramuros, or what they call Walled City. It witnessed oppressions and invasions of foreigners against Filipinos. The 377-year rule of Spanish on the Second World War in the hands of Japanese and in American period from 1898 to 1946. One of the classic examples of structure that stood the test of time is Baluarte De San Diego, our first destination for today. It all started when the Chinese pirates raided the wooden Spanish fort of Intramuros in 1574. The need for stronger defense became an urgent priority. According to Governor General Santiago de Vera, a stone with watchtower would best to serve the purpose. The one who constructed this is Jesuit priest Antonio Cedeño, originally named Nuestra Señora de Guía, or in English, Our Lady of Guidance. The bastion was primarily designed to repel invasions. Its sturdy structure is a testament to its purpose, and it has helped to survive wars, earthquakes, and ravages of time. The walls kept out pirates but were breached by the British when they captured the city during the 7 Years' War. The walls were obsolete in the time of Japanese conquest in 1940. US and Filipino soldiers abandoned the city, declaring it an open city to spare the civilians. Then they retreated to more defensible Bataan Peninsula and Corregidor Islands, where they held out 3 more months before surrendering. Then it was restored and strengthened. However, the earthquake in 1863 damaged it, forcing the Japanese to abandon it. This area, along with much of Intramuros, destroyed in the Philippine Liberation in 1945. Look out for the 3 large strings of stone connected by the crossway, which are thought to have been the base of the tower, now destroyed. There are also several cannons with fascinating inscriptions with details of when and where they were made. In 1992, gardens were added and it became a public park and event place, rented out to celebrate special occasions and private functions. Now, Baluarte de San Diego serves as a reminder of many events that transpired in this historical city. It no longer has a purpose of war. Instead, it safeguards the memories of the lawful events in the past for the present and future generations to learn. Let's proceed to our next destination, the San Agustin Church. We will take a walk to exercise our bones. Kidding aside, in my estimation, I think it takes 3 minutes before we arrive at San Agustin. Good thing that the weather is coordinating with us. It is sunny day and it is good to take a walk. Well, while we are walking to San Agustin Church, I will tell you some trivia. First, did you know that the word Intramuros means inside the walls? Intramuros is a European-style medieval fortified city, also known as Ciudad Morada, which means the walled city. This old town was the centerpiece of Spanish colonial period, and in the year 1945, the biggest portion of this city were destroyed by the Americans, but then later on it was restored. This is the oldest district in Manila, and the area beyond the walled city referred as extramuros, meaning outside the city. Oh, we're already here. This is the San Agustin Church. But before we roam inside, I have another reminder. Please remain quiet. This is a sacred place. This is a church. People go here to pray solemnly. let's respect their place of worship as we respect their beliefs. Taking pictures is allowed, but please make sure that we turn off the flash. Come on, let's go inside. San Agustin Church is also known as Church of the Immaculate Conception of San Agustin. This is the oldest church in the Philippines, built in 1595. San Agustin Church, Manila is an inscribed UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1993 under the Serial Declaration of Baroque Churches in the Philippines, together with 3 churches in Paway, Ilocos Norte, Santa Maria, Ilocos Sur, and Yagaw in Iloilo. The Baroque churches in the Philippines was inscribed in UNESCO World Heritage Site because these 3 churches established a style of building and design that adapted the physical condition in the Philippines, which had an important influence on later church architecture in the region. The Baroque churches in the Philippines also represent the fusion of European church design and construction using local materials and decorative motifs to form a new church building tradition. Let me share you a little history about this church. The building of this church was started in 1571 under Augustinian order. Like many other structures during that time, this church was built in nipa and bamboo. Would you believe that? This beautiful and complete church was once built with nipa and bamboo. In 1574, the Chinese pirate Limahong invaded the Manila. The invasion led to the burning of the city. Among those burned was San Agustin Church, which led to the first reconstruction of San Agustin a year later. To rebuild the church, they used wooden materials that are more prone to fire. True enough, another fire caused the church destruction in 1583. To avoid the same mistakes before, the Augustinian friars decided to rebuild the church using adobe stones, which endured even the strongest earthquake that hit Manila from 16th to 17th century. The only major damage was the collapse of one of the church bell towers, which was then permanently removed. Because of the church age of 400 years, the San Agustin Church became a witness to many significant events in the Philippine history during the Spanish period. In 1762, during the 7 Years' War, the British forces looted the church. In 1898, the San Agustin Church became the venue of Spaniards and Americans to sign and discuss the surrender of Manila to Americans. During World War II, the Japanese forces turned this church into a concentration camp for prisoners. As the Battle of Manila in 1945 drew to a close, Japanese held hostage priests and hundreds of residents inside the church. To drive out the remaining, the Japanese, American, and Filipino forces conducted an air raid inside the Intramuros. Because of that, structures in the walled city reduced to rubble, but San Agustin Church remains standing, one of the few that still intact in Intramuros after the war. Do you know what? This church has a hidden mausoleum which houses the remains of Miguel Lope de Legazpi. Guys, do you want to light a candle here? Because it's what they believe that if it's your first time to visit the church, light a candle and make a wish, and your wish will be granted. Before we finally end this tour, I want to express my deepest gratitude on behalf of Hiraya Tours. I hope that you enjoy and gain knowledge in this tour. Again, I am Mary Rose Paras, your tour guide from Hiraya Tours. Thank you so much, guys!